Rhett and Link's web show, Good Mythical Morning, averages 1.5 million views a day. They hope to turn this viral success into Emmy Gold in the short form variety series category. I'm Matt Noble of Gold Derby, here with Rhett and Link. Guys, what's been your favorite thing to talk about that?
Well, we talk about lots of stuff. First of all, greetings from the set of Good Mythical Morning. So
yes.
5 days a week, we upload an episode where we're talking about all types of stuff, sometimes eating weird stuff, many times having guests on the show, to promote their own stuff, but we always have a good time.
And we started as just the two of us talking about whatever we wanted to talk about. In fact, it would be a conversation that we might be having when we were coming into work, and we would say, nope, let's not have that. Let's have that as part of our show. It started very, very small. It was just the two of us having that 10 to 15 minute conversation. And then slowly over a few years, it began to eclipse everything else that we were doing until it became this thing that was the most popular daily show on the internet and something that people actually wanted to come on to promote their stuff. So we do a lot more than just talk at this point, like Link was saying.
Yeah, it's pretty humbling to be able to work with your best friend since first grade. We're still friends. It could end at any moment. I think an Emmy would definitely help keep our friendship intact. But yeah, it's really developed from just being two guys talking in your converted garage to us having a studio in Burbank with over 70 employees. And I think because we have a show that's on YouTube, we feel like we need to say that because a lot of people think of YouTube is just like, oh, two best friends still in their basement, basically. And that is where we started, and we're proud of where we came from. But we're astonished where we are, that there's 15 million subscribers, 100 million views every month. But you're living the dream, man.
That's good. What do you remember the first video you ever uploaded to YouTube together?
Yeah, well, actually, someone else uploaded it. So we had a website, but back in like
2005.
Oh yeah, 2005. We've got a website, rhettandlink.com. We think to ourselves, we hear about YouTube, and people are like, "Why don't you have a YouTube?" We're like, "You don't need YouTube if you've got a website." Yeah. So, but then when people started taking the videos that we were putting on rhettandlink.com and putting them on the internet, and they were getting more views, specifically one that we did called Pimp My Stroller, which was a parody of MTV's Pimp My Ride, where we took a stroller, a double stroller, and we had kids. We still have kids, but they were very young.
We still have children.
So my son, who was basically an infant, and his daughter, who was just a toddler, we put them in the stroller, we pimped it out, we put it on our website. It probably got a couple hundred views, which we were like, oh, a couple hundred people. But then when somebody took that and uploaded it to YouTube, it got a couple of thousand views. At that point, we were like, maybe we should do that on purpose. So that was, I think that was the first video we uploaded to our channel, but it has since been deleted automatically by YouTube because we didn't understand copyright at the time, and it just had a bunch of real music in it.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but Google representatives come to your house and they lash you.
Yeah, right.
So we learned our lesson.
Yeah, that's good. What do you think? Are you gonna? Will you ever do another Pimp My Stroller?
No, I think that's the last time that we can honestly say we used our engineering degrees.
Right.
Like, we were college roommates. We both studied and got engineering degrees, but turning a double stroller into basically a Batmobile with ground effects and spinners and a chocolate milk dispenser.
Yeah.
That basically sucked us dry when it came to our engineering capabilities.
Well, maybe when we have grandchildren.
Okay.
There you go.
We'll bookend it.
Yeah, and then you could do a Pimp My Walker as well.
I love it.
Yeah. What you doing 5 shows a week? How do you think of what content to put out and how to go about that?
Yeah, well, like we were talking before, when we started, it was just everything was coming from the two of us, and so it was something that we wanted to talk about. And then, we're over 1,500 episodes in at this point, so somewhere around the few hundred episode mark, we were like, we really should get some help with this. And that's when we started to build our team. At this point,
producers, writers.
We've got a team of 5 writers who are constantly trying to come up with original content that people on YouTube want to click on. So that's the name of the game at this point. Is there's just so much stuff that is uploaded every single second to YouTube that in order to kind of stand out, to pop out, to be something that's clickable, something that will trend on the homepage, which we are able to do on a pretty regular basis, you got to have people who are just constantly trying to come up with original ideas.
Yeah, and I think we've learned to gamify a lot of our content. We're friends with Jimmy Fallon. He's had us on the Tonight Show 5 times. We do a segment we basically do our show within his show as a segment called Will It, where we combine different foods together and then taste them to see if they make if the bizarre creation actually works. And in the same way that he does a lot of games with guests, we do that too. I'm not going to say that Jimmy and his team copied us, but I was in a parallel fashion. We kind of developed that aspect of what we do, gamifying things, and it's cool to see that when you look at the ratings and kind of compare us with late night, even though our show it is a morning show, it's kind of a late night show too, because you can watch it anytime, and our numbers are very comparable, ahead of I was going to say Colbert, but that ain't the truth. Nobody.
You could say ahead of Corden, but
I'll say Corden.
I'll
I'll say Corden and the Daily Show. We're ahead of them if you compare the numbers, which is pretty crazy.
I guess it could also be a mid-afternoon show. Really, anytime you want. What do you reckon?
Anytime is a good Mythical Morning. That's what we say. Just watch. That's all we say. Please. I don't care what time it is.
What do you think the best time is to watch the show?
Well, we hear from people who do, we think that there's something to watching it in the morning and kind of making it a part of your daily routine. But we've heard from so many people, first of all, because there's a very big international audience. Like we were talking before the interview about our tour down in Australia. We went down there because we had heard from fans in Australia that they wanted us to come and take our tour through, because anybody with an internet connection can access the show. So a lot of people watch it right when it comes out, whatever time it happens to be in their part of the world. And then some people say, you know what we do? We take all 5 shows from the week and we binge them together as a family on Saturday night or Friday night, so we can watch all 5 together and have, like an hour to an hour and a half of the shows together. So it really, like Lane said, it's anytime can be a good Mythical Morning for you. But I would say the average person sort of watches it in the morning, because 60% of our audience or so is based in the U.S. and most of them are watching it.
And Link, what was it like going on tour with the show, and how is that experience different to the sort of response you get from putting out web content?
Excuse me. Yeah, it's really cool to finally be able to meet fans in person and get their response in a room, like actually hear them laughing as opposed to just typing LOL. We're continually amazed with how much our show and our content is shaped by the comments, but it's a totally different thing when you're on stage. I mean, when we do our tour, it's not the show. It's more of it's music and stand-up comedy and kind of us just riffing with each other, since music is still a big part of what we do. But we wouldn't have the ability to tour at all if we didn't have that daily relationship with our fans, where in the comments we're having that conversation and that constant feedback. Oh, they really like that. Let's do that again. Let's take this one idea that we were just going to do as a one-off and let's make it a series. Will It's a great example of that. I mean, we just started putting weird things in tacos in order to see what Will It Taco. And now, many years later, millions of views later, every month we still do a Will It episode within the context of the show. And that's based on audience feedback.
And with the tour, Rhett, what was it like putting something together that not in a 15 or 10-minute segment, but something that would go sort of more long form?
Well, it's interesting because our background before we got into making YouTube videos was live comedy. So the idea of putting together a show that was, and a lot of our initial YouTube content back in the day was were funny songs that we had written and performed for crowds that we created music videos for. So it was actually a little bit of a returning to our roots and doing something long form, whereas YouTube and doing something that was 10 to 15 minutes that felt short, was more webisode length. That was something we did in response to just the environment of YouTube and what people wanted. But it was, I mean, we love being on stage with people for an hour and a half. Sometimes who knows what's going to happen. Sometimes the shows go 2 hours because there's a lot of improv that happens based on how the crowd participates. But yeah, so it was a lot of just returning to our roots.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, as far as Good Mythical Morning goes, I think one of the other exciting aspects of the show is that we are able to bring in guests, celebrity guests who have things to promote, and we're a part of that circuit now, being here in Burbank, to where we have our own talent booker, and we've had a lot of success with that, and with our, you know, personal connections we have. So it's been bizarre to see. Okay, Jack Black is on the show, Tony Hale, Kobe Bryant, Amy Schumer, Bill Hader. The list goes on and on. But to finally get to a point about a year and a half, 2 years ago, where we could become a part of that promotional circuit, helped evolve what Good Mythical Morning is in being a legitimate stop when it comes to, you know, TV stars, movie stars, that type of thing. Weird Al Yankovic, one of our
heroes.
Yeah, he's a hero of ours. So having him on the show with his accordion was flooring.
Who's been the most sort of fun guest to have in the studio?
Jack Black has come back a couple of times.
Yeah, Jack Black he's
awesome.
Jack Black destroyed parts of the set last time he was here, but it was all in good fun. He can come and destroy the set anytime he wants.
We had Daniel Radcliffe on the show, and my daughter came to set that day as a big Harry Potter fan, and so to get those cool points was pretty great. To have Post Malone on the show, that got us a lot of cool points because he's pretty cool.
And you're on the set right now.
We live here. They don't allow us to leave. So they bring us food if we're really nice, and water if we beg.
The couch there. We alternate every day.
Yeah, sometimes we're on the floor.
Yeah. And so I imagine, like on YouTube Premium, you can get the live stream or something like that.
Exactly. Pay $5 a month, you can see that.
Yeah. But what do you have a favorite like item on your set, dressing or anything like that?
This guitar. Oh, here it is. Mm-hmm. This guitar here. I mentioned to a friend of mine, Lewis, that I wanted to start playing guitar more. He said, "Well, you can borrow my guitar." I haven't seen Lewis in 3 years.
Longer than that.
Okay, 4 years.
At least 5 years.
But I see his guitar every time I turn around. And Lewis, if you're watching, I don't know if you're an Emmy voter, but if you are, I definitely want to apologize.
Well, and I think this guitar, the gold one, is interestingly the first thing we ever did formally to entertain people together, besides just making stupid videos and doing speeches and stuff like that in school, was we started a band called the Wax Paper Dogs. And when we started the band, no one could play instruments. Literally everyone picked up an instrument except the two of us. And we decided that we were going to be dual lead singers. And about 3 shows in, I had the wherewithal to realize that this was not sustainable. This was not cool. This was weird. So one of us needs to start playing an instrument. So I bought that guitar.
Yeah.
And started playing and taught myself how to not be embarrassing. And Link.
I kind of think I had the wherewithal to know you were going to have the wherewithal to feel that way, then allowing me to take all of the spotlight as a lead singer and not have to learn how to play an instrument.
If I hadn't gotten that guitar, how long do you think that dual lead singer band would have lasted? I don't think we would not be sitting here today. We would be, what would we be doing? We'd be, you'd be a hairdresser. You've talked about that. You'd be a hairdresser, and I would probably
/ masseuse.
Yeah.
I use one hand to cut hair, the other hand to massage.
Oh, you would have revolutionized the industry.
Right. It's a simultaneous thing, like a cutting and a massaging.
Yeah. What did the what did the Wax Paper Dolls do? Did you do original hits or were you a cover band?
Oh yeah, we did. Well, when we started,
we did original, but I wouldn't call them hits.
Well, because no one knew how to play. That also meant no one knew how to write music, and so the bassist dad, who was like 45 years old, named Benny, he had a bunch of songs that he had written in the 70s.
In the 60s or 70s, yeah.
70s. And very much like John Denver kind of style. And so he was like, I got some old songs y'all could sing. And so, and we were like, well, the only way this is going to work is if you actually join the band. So the bassist dad was in the band and we played all his music until we got to where we were bold enough to write our own songs.
Oh, nice. Love it.
He was born in the summer of his 27th year.
That's not Benny Ensor, that's John Denver, but it sounds similar.
Yeah, fair enough.
Not Benny, John.
Right.
Having been friends for so long, having worked together for so long, what gets the most old about working with each other?
What are you trying to do, man?
Well, I've made it very clear publicly that I have a high level of disdain for Link's chewing. And incidentally, one of the most popular things that we have done is eaten weird foods on Good Mythical Morning. So
yeah, we eat a lot of things. I chew a lot on the show.
There's actually a lot of chewing that takes place. And but at this point, it's just become—
I've never choked.
Just this incessant drip, like a drip from a leaky faucet that you can't ever fix. There's nothing. I mean, unless you get surgery, I'd pay for you to get some kind of surgery to cushion the amount of noise that your mouth makes.
The thing most annoying about Rhett that I can't stand is that he goes on and on about my chewing.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you, and there's less web shows, like that's not a segment, unfortunately.
No, it's not very entertaining.
But I will say, if I did get that surgery, we would make it an episode. Speaking of which,
we did make a surgery an episode.
Yeah, I've got 3 kids. Rhett has 2, and we both reached our limit, so we decided to get vasectomies. I was going to say get fixed, but that's what you do to a dog.
I mean, we technically got fixed. And we turned that into an episode of Good Mythical Morning, which, again, we were in
the room together getting vasectomies together.
We called it the brosectomy because we got them together and bonded.
I highly recommend it. Not your friend being in the room with you, but just the procedure when the time is right.
And coincidentally, the doctor's name was Dr. Hyman.
Seriously,
not making that up.
Oh, okay. And to wrap up, guys, what has been, like, you've worked together for so long, what has been your favorite thing about working with the other person?
Oh man, now we got to be positive about each other.
Well, I would say,
go first.
We talk about
your time.
We talk about this quite a bit. That if you follow the world of YouTube, it's a totally different thing. There's this independent entertainment thing is very different than your typical traditional entertainment, where in traditional entertainment, you've got somebody who's kind of in charge, and then they hire someone to fill a role, and it's a big machine with a lot of moving parts, but the ownership is usually at some network level, right? With independent entertainment like you have on YouTube, it all kind of comes back down on us. And so it's only as motivated as we are to keep doing this and to continue innovating. And of course, we have an incredible team that is now enabling us to keep going. But a lot of times it kind of comes down to the motivation and the insight and the vision that you need. And it helps having a partnership to do that.
Yeah. And I take 100% all of the credit for that.
Right.
Great. So, Link, what's your favorite thing about Rhett?
See, you're really gonna make me do this.
Yeah,
I think he's got a nice beard. I think.
Yeah, I do.
If it weren't for that beard, he'd be ugly. It's
true.
a really good looking beard.
I've
seen him without a beard.
I've shaved it for entertainment purposes, and it was not entertaining for me personally.
Is this a backhanded compliment?
A little bit.
You got good ideas, man. You
Oh.
got really good ideas.
Oh, that's good.
Sometimes. I mean, I have to shape them, but you're a good ideas guy.
Okay.
He's a big picture guy. He's a futurist. The bottom half of his body is AI.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to prove it. And don't ask me how I know that. It's gotten weird.
Rhett and Link, it's been fantastic to chat. Thanks for making the time for us. But anyone watching this video, which I assume is your most viral video yet, you can go to goldderby.com to make your Emmy predictions and compete with Hollywood experts and prognosticators. And you can subscribe to our channel to get more updates for when we have other interviews with Hollywood big shots. Thanks, guys.
That's us.
That's us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries.